We have a race on dirt where we're going back to Martinsville, the site of the greatest NASCAR move ever pulled. IndyCar's back, and a Wednesday night dash preview in our GT3 cars. This is FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Fluke.
I am Eric Richardson.
We just got done with our recruiting race, and it was all our drivers that showed up, which I'm not too terribly surprised about, but it was a good event. I That was the first time I've ever raced a GT3 car before. I've done practice laps, but that is the first non-AI race, non-practice that I've done, and could have gone worse.
It's something different, isn't it?
It is definitely something different.
I think that let's see, 1, 2, 3, maybe my 8th like road course race, not in Wednesday night dash. I don't road race.
I have one official road course race on my record. I did a Formula V at Lime Rock Park, and I was doing pretty good there until some clown just drove into the back of me going into turn one and sent me flying.
I think I have 2 or 3 Vs. I think I maybe jumped in that new Mazda just for fun because it was at Lime Rock.
Yeah, anytime I see a car at Lime Rock, I'm like, ooh, Lime Rock. Especially the classic, like that, the Grand Prix, which we're doing for week 1 of the season. Man, those like Grand Prix with those chicanes, those bumps are just, if you go square over them, you will be meatballed and you will be back in the pits and you'll be
I will probably be putting
repaired.
up a video on Instagram at some point of the training oopsie I had on one of those.
Is it better than my in the starting soon video of the at the Roval when I took the next gen car and airborne coming out of that bus stop?
This one was pretty good.
It is tricky.
We do have
you got a lot of speed, then you got to stop on a dime, and then you're going uphill as you're going through that process. That track is sneaky tough, and with about a dozen drivers on that, it's going to get pretty compact. It's not a big track.
Funny, a good chunk of our drivers too have endurance racing under their belt.
And
some more than others.
A good chunk of them have never stepped foot in this car before. So it's something different. It might completely blow up in our faces. The good news is this is Eli Singer, announcer, his bread and butter series. So obviously he's doing a really good job with the NASCAR, but he's a student of ovals right now. And I've noticed, I looked at his iRacing stats the other day. He's starting to get into some street stocks, trying to get himself out of rookie in the oval. And, you look at his stats and there was all road courses. And then recently in the last, this year, since he met us, now he's starting to try out the oval stuff. So we have an oval convert on our hands, I think. Maybe not, but still, he's I thought that was hilarious when I saw that.
He's the opposite of me. I mostly do ovals and occasionally dabble on a random road course.
Yeah, it's so obvious with ovals. It's like, oh, turn left 4 times. But it's just like this is such a dumb moment for me where, especially in like the ARCA car, and you're talking about tire management, and the more you turn your wheel going into these turns, the more more you're going to burn off your tires. And it's like, okay, the wheel is, in theory, should be the third thing you use to turn, which, if anyone's ever just from driving a car on the road, the wheel being what you use to turn is the third thing that you should be focusing on. It seems really backwards, but basically it's the brake and it's gravity of the banking of the track. You let the like gravity kind of bring you down inside, and a little bit of brake and tiny bit of wheel, and you're going to save some tire. And it's just kind of like, I heard somebody actually say that, and it's just like, duh, like, why didn't I think that's so obvious? Why did that just now like come into my collective conscious?
I think I just need to run these cars more. I could see, actually, as we go through the season, getting a little bit better at the road racing just by actually
Man,
doing it.
Hunter is early favorite to win. He had a good night last night and good night tonight during the recruiting race.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm running and I feel like I'm on the edge, if I push much harder, I'm just gonna spin out and I'm still 3 seconds off the pace. Like, man, how do
I
you guys do this?
Yeah, and Colton Garner, last season champ, he said I'm a don't turn right very often type of driver, and he held his own tonight. I mean, I think you said you finished like a second behind him or something like that. He was a lap down.
Yeah, we were a lap down to Hunter. I was trying to catch him. I jumped in like a minute to go before the green flag goes.
I
Like
was
it
sitting
was
there
already
watching.
under grid.
I was watching the clock countdown. I got my slow lap in just to get something on the books, which has been my road course strategy. And I start third. Didn't last. That did not last. And I'm sitting there watching the countdown. I'm like, will Erik make it? Will Erik make it? Yes, he made it. All right.
Yeah, I think I saw like a minute 21 grid.
Oh man.
So I jumped
But
in. Those first 3 laps were like warm up. I think I went off track once and then spun and hit the inside
yeah,
wall.
I saw you spin off of let's see, one, two,
It was
after
over
turn
like,
three. Yeah, turn three before you're heading to Tony Holman Boulevard over there.
yeah, that one. Then I caught the inside wall, I think off of like 11 or 12.
I
But
was
then I
thinking,
got going, got into a rhythm, and then I was trying to track down Colton. I need
it's
one more
just
lap.
yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's going to be fun. Like I said, I just don't have a lot of seat time in this car, and it's going to show. But I don't know. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know if this will be a regular part of our season rotation or not. Um, Caden McAreevy is sitting out the season. He'll be back for the fall season when we're likely back in ARCA cars. But he said he basically despises GT3 racing, and he said, let me know when you're ready to go for the fall season back in ARCA, and he'll be right back with us. So fair enough. I mean, I get it. After my experiences so far, I can understand why somebody would not like to drive these things.
If it wasn't for me being a co-owner with this thing, I might actually be taking the season off too. Not gonna lie. I want to turn left.
Hey, yeah, well, we decided, hey, we're gonna do a GT3 season. After the Daytona 24, we're pumped up. We're like, hey, yeah, let's do this, and then we get to like we're on week one. Now we're having cold feet about it. It's like,
I think I'll do okay, and it's good. 'Cause I need it for the just the road racing aspect because we do hit at least one road race with the next gen cars and trucks and ARCA. We have 3 road races with the IndyCar season that we have going, so it's good. I need to get better at road racing.
the thing too is, I want to like limit down what I drive, and it's like, okay, I'll GT3 for the road racing. I do not want to give up the IR18 under any circumstance. That's probably my best car. But on the stock car side of things, it's like, yeah, I'd like to focus on the next gen, but I'm just not ready to jump to A. And it's like, do I want to spend time just hanging around in B and C? Like, the truck racing is fine. I don't know. I think I'm probably just gonna have to just start doing some truck racing in C class. And
Yeah,
once
the Xfinities are a lot of fun too. They're a little bit more forgiving than what the next gen is, but there's a lot of similarities. Like I think I talked about after the Michigan race, what I learned in the Xfinity car at Auto Club, I was able to take that into the next gen at Michigan,
I
which
guess
helped me
that,
get the
yeah, you did.
win.
I do remember you mentioning that. I guess that makes sense. I do have a B license in oval. Again, I don't know if I'm ready for B racing in the Xfinity series. So I don't know. I just need to get out and do more ranked racing. Almost everything I do is league based or unranked stuff, and a lot of it's time. The time basis. It's like, okay, I can get into a C race periodically because it's like an hour. I can squeeze that in, and fortunately, it's just sometimes that hour doesn't line up with people showing up, especially with Well, and then you have Delara Dash, which has just fallen off ever since they switched to the IR01.
Yeah, no. I think what you'd find with the Xfinity running in a fixed series, because they do have both options, the
Yep.
open and fixed. Um, the racing is a little bit cleaner. You do find the kind of knuckleheads. I usually see 1 to 3 cautions in a race. But it's not as forgiving on that. If you make a mistake, you're probably going to get passed by 2 or 3 cars until you get back up to speed.
Let's look at the I mean the Xfinity schedule in B matches the the real series. So they're at Martinsville this week. Talladega, ooh yeah, go make your Class B Xfinity debut at Talladega. That's a great place.
If you sit in the back through the first half, you might be okay.
Maybe.
I know people that have just kind of sat back there and waited for the caution, and then they'll move up and even wait for the second one.
And just hope you don't get collected at the end when everyone's making their mad dash to the finish.
Yep.
There was another, what was it? I forget what series it was, but iRacing had a replay of something running Daytona. Oh, I think it was Gen 4s. It was Gen 4s on Daytona, and it was on the last lap, and this guy went from 18th to first.
I think I saw that.
In the he was in 18th place coming out of turn 3, and just somehow managed to just maneuver his way through the mess and ended up winning the race, which is just crazy.
Oh, the joys of plate racing.
So, tune in next week, Wednesday Night Dash, Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
NASCAR. They raced on some dirt last weekend. Truck race was a mess.
What was the biggest story? They ran on dirt or the drone choose line?
I think the drone choose line was the bigger
they
story of the
talked
weekend.
more about that during the race than the actual race.
I don't know. I don't like these gimmicky races. It's like
I think I agree with Kyle Larson.
These cars are not
a fan.
They're not made for driving on dirt.
Hey, we saw a flip of the race. The first 2 stages were just loaded with cautions.
Yeah.
And then third stage, they run like the last 50 laps green. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, and Christopher Bell basically said he had to like hold on for dear life and run the last laps perfectly to finish, and got his win. So you'll be seeing him in the playoff more than likely, unless we have a repeat of last year.
And we've had a lot of talk with the drivers about the respect in each other. I know Larson and Priest had their little beef in, but I saw a lot of give and go.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I was watching a different race, but I feel like they didn't push maybe like they normally would. And a lot of the spins were all single car accidents where they just looped it around.
Yep. Yeah, I remember Michael McDowell had one. Kyle Larson
he decided, had the fun one.
Yeah, and Kyle Larson decided after stage 2, decided he wanted to keep his tires, and he's like, "Can I keep my tires?" They said, "Yep." Didn't work out for him. Hendrick got penalized again.
Yeah, the 24 and the 48.
Yep, and
their greenhouse.
Guys, I don't know. I mean, I feel like anytime Chad Knaus is involved in anything related to a car, whether he's the crew chief or, in this case, he's like the technical director now, that's going to happen, because that's like, how many times was Chad Knaus suspended or fined for inspection failures, in all his years as Jimmy Johnson's crew chief?
Yeah.
It was quite a few, and it was always him too. Like, it wasn't, there was Alan Gustafson was in there, and who else am I? Tony Uri Jr. for Dale Jr. I mean, those guys never seemed to get caught. It was always Chad. Chad was always pushing the limit. I feel like that's what's happening at Hendrick again. But
well, and I know they were little upset with it too, feeling that they were kind of targeted by NASCAR because
Well,
NASCAR was
duh.
mad.
Duh. Yeah, especially after they got off with a pretty light slap of the wrist after their appeal, and poor Justin Haley basically gets just whatever, like, you are still getting penalized. And I mean, the only thing I saw differently, I don't think we ever got an explanation for why their penalty was appealed and Haley's wasn't. I mean, the only difference I saw between the two, at least from public information, was Haley's happened after qualification, where Hendricks was caught in like pre-practice inspection. So it's like,
And it was a
okay,
voluntary inspection too, wasn't it?
that I don't know.
I feel like I maybe heard that.
If it was, that makes sense too. But still, like, a lot of the anti-Hendrick people are pretty upset at them. Cheaters, what's cheaters? Oh well,
You either like them or you don't.
that's right. Just like everything else in NASCAR. You like Kyle Busch, you hate Kyle Busch. You like Hendrick, you hate Hendrick. You like Dale, you don't like Dale. That's how NASCAR works.
Yep.
Martinsville this weekend. Ross
Unfortunately,
Chastain.
won't get to see the Chastain
Yeah,
this weekend.
I don't know. I have another birthday party I have to take my kids to this weekend, but I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday. So I thought it was Sunday, but I'm being told it's Saturday now. So I have no idea when that is, but I am prioritizing watching the Long Beach Grand Prix, which it looks like it's noon Pacific on Sunday. Yep, 16th. That'll be fun. I like Long Beach. I'd like to go to that race some year.
We actually did get through a weekend where not the entire field was blaming Chastain for an issue. We'll see if that keeps up.
Yeah. Well,
Martinsville is fun for
uh,
duels.
there's gonna be all the attention on him because, hey, remember what Ross Chastain did last fall? Yes, we remember. We know.
Yes. No one is going to forget that
No,
anytime soon.
nope. And they're gonna talk about it, and I'm sure they're gonna have a sit down where Michael Waltrip sits down to talk with him. Then they show the clip over and over again. It'll be a classic NASCAR on Fox. Dominate the discussion because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Formula One's still not back. Been pretty
We got a
quiet
long break.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet on that front.
You got to wait till what, the 30th, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple more weeks. Yeah,
Takes a long time to get anywhere from Australia.
it's like taking Pony Express. Yeah, so I was, they're talking about Formula One and their whole carbon neutral by 2030 campaign, and this video has been pointed out multiple times. They show, like, you're talking about being carbon neutral, but let's look at your schedule and look at your flights. And they're saying, oh,
I've seen that.
yeah. So it's like, oh, we're going to start in the Middle East. And where are we going to go next? Oh, okay. So we'll go to Australia. And we're going to go and hit up Singapore and Japan next. Nope. We're going to go back to the Middle East. And we're going to go to Europe. Nope. We're going to go to Miami. Then we're going to come back and we're going to spend some time in Europe.
They come to the States, what, 3 separate occasions?
Yes. Yes, we've got Miami, we've got Austin, and then Las Vegas.
It would make sense. Run the Middle East now, then get to Europe, come to the States, work your way down.
Go down to South America, into Brazil, Mexico. No. Problem, though, too, with Miami, though, is if you start to get into hurricane season if you wait and do Miami in the fall.
Yeah.
And it's
you got to kind of get done before start of June.
Yeah, it's absolutely miserable once June rolls around. So it's like you're miserable weather and hurricane season. Last thing they want to do is have to cancel a Grand Prix because of a hurricane.
Hey, I had a tropical storm go through the morning of my wedding. What are they complaining about a hurricane for?
It's like we've
already postponed it for a year. What's a tropical storm? Would have been awesome if it was a hurricane, actually.
Got some Alanis Morissette on your ironic right there.
Yeah, I don't believe in that green. It sounds good. You know, speaking of Miami, I'm actually going to be in Orlando that weekend. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get down to Miami.
Well, you better give Tyler a call.
Yeah, I did let him know I'm going to see if it works out to meet up with Tyler. It'd be fun. You know, I'm going to take one shot at Formula One here. All they do that's great. Why do they not have single session tickets?
Greed.
Because I would, if I could
I
just
get
get a
it.
1 day qualifying, I would actually jump down to Miami and watch
Yeah,
qualifying.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean,
'Cause I would enjoy that.
and the thing is, they can because the demand is there right now.
Yep.
I mean, you look at Las Vegas and you're like, hey, Las Vegas, that's awesome. Everyone else thinks it's awesome. Oh, $2,000 for standing room only seats. Nope.
Pass.
Nope. We'll do a garage talk live race day instead. That's that's gonna be weird because that race is going to start at 10 p.m. local time um, in Las Vegas.
At
So
least they
these,
don't have a noise ordinance.
yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
It's Vegas.
Can
No
you
one cares.
imagine? Yeah, there's enough noise, enough bright lights, enough people, but man, that is going to be one crazy party.
I can only imagine.
I just, I feel bad for is I feel bad for the combination of the police department and the casino security that weekend because it's just going to be just absolute mass chaos on the Las Vegas Strip.
I'm still looking forward to July 4th weekend.
And you're going to, is that Michigan?
The Chicago race.
Oh, of course. Jeez.
I'm interested to see how that thing actually ends up. I'm expecting traffic here in Michigan because Lakeshore is backed up that far.
Yeah, I live 30 miles from downtown. You get on the highway and then you get on, the 290. Is that the Eisenhower? I think I can't. It's been so long since I lived there. But you get on the 290, go, west or go east right into town. And as soon as you get there, where you got the Dan Ryan, the Kennedy, and I think it's the Eisenhower, all come together at the circle. That is a traffic nightmare. Just normally, like I know they've been working to kind of clean that up the last few years, and like I said, I haven't been back to Chicago in years now, but that was a traffic nightmare. And oh, by the way, we're going to close Michigan Avenue. We're going to close Lakeshore Drive, which is, by the way, a highway technically. We're going to close Grant Park. There's other events going on in the city at that time. Normal life is going on in the city at that time. It's such a mess. Again, I'll just enjoy watching that from the TV. And
The last time I was in Chicago, we were on our way in, maybe to see the Cubs or just visit. I don't remember. But they had part of Lakeshore Drive closed there by like Soldier Field and the Shed for just like a random bike ride.
yeah, oh
People
yeah,
could take their bikes and go up and down.
they'll absolutely
Traffic
do
on
that.
that in
I,
the morning was a nightmare.
and they'll do that for runs too. Like I did two in the last year plus I lived there. I did two runs on in that area that started out either next to McCormick Place, the convention center there, or it's in Soldier Field's parking lot. And one was a Big Ten. They have a 10K for the Big 10K, haha. And they literally will close off half of Lakeshore, not the whole southbound. They close half of the southbound. And so you're running and there's like a barrier, and there were cars like driving 50 miles an hour on the other side of that barrier as I'm running. And I'm like, well, this is a little terrifying.
What's crazy, that's what traffic does when it's closed for just a few hours. We're talking days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Long Beach right now. They had a drift event. There's all events going on all week. Last weekend they got all week. You got the IMSA's there on, I think, Saturday. You got the IndyCar race on Sunday. I think there's probably an Indy Lights there event there too. I mean, Long Beach is effectively shut down right now. Downtown Long Beach. And what's crazy about Long Beach is there's all the shipping ports. There's a whole like Port of Long Beach. That's a major import hub.
Hey, last I heard, those are closed right now anyway for worker shortages or something.
Oh,
So, oh, they're fine.
yeah, whatever. But last summer we went to Long Beach, and you just see like a line of container ships, coming in from China and Vietnam and wherever. And you just see this line of container ships. They come into the port, and you get on the highway heading towards Los Angeles. And basically, like, I don't know if I missed some memo, but it was like I was the only car on this highway. Everything else was a semi truck coming from the port. And you'd have these semi trucks with putting the containers on them, and they're bringing our goods to America and all our made in China and Vietnam product materials going to wherever they may go in this fine country. But it was a weird. I've never experienced anything like that before.
I don't know if I have a tag on here. Let's see, made in Vietnam. There you go.
Yeah, so it was probably on one of those shipping containers. Let's see. Yeah, this one was made in China. I mean, that's fortunately a way of
Oh,
life.
yeah, I got it right here.
Got my kids' Paw Patrol from here. Well, made in China.
Like everything is made in
Figures.
China.
Figures. I remember the late amazing Jonathan, the comedy magician. I went to his show, and I got to be the person yanked up on stage, and I was there for a trade show at the convention center, and I left, and I didn't have time to go back and change, so I went there in a suit. And I think I got singled out because I was the fool sitting in the front row in a suit, and I get yanked up on stage to be his assistant during the show. And he's like, "Hey, that's a nice suit," and he like grabs the suit coat and he opens it up and he goes, "Made in a hurry, clearly." And he's like making fun of my he's just like making fun of my suit. Anyway, that
Actually
got
brought up on stage
I remember you mentioned
in Vegas.
What was your show that you got dragged on stage for?
Zumanity.
Oh yeah,
Cirque du Soleil. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a little
more on the risque side.
Yeah, that's
It was hilarious though. Like, hey, I was on stage in Vegas.
Yeah. I mean,
that.
You're a Vegas stage performer. I'm a Vegas stage performer. I mean,
Why did we not get an invite to the Formula One race? Come on now.
That's right. We are veteran Vegas stage performers.
We have been there, done that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I when I saw the amazing Jonathan, excuse me, I saw his show. I've seen, he rehashed some of his jokes from his Comedy Central special. So I knew some of these punchlines were coming. And he did the can where you rip the can open and the little, the foam snake comes popping out on it. But what he did was he did this bit, and I'm not, this is like a 25-year-old special. You haven't seen it now. Sorry, spoiler alert. But he'd hand you the can. He'd say, take the lid off the can. And you're hesitating because you don't want this, little foam snake to shoot out and hit you in the face. But what he would do is he'd open the can and he'd kind of lean over and he'd open the can, and then just like peanuts would fall from the can on the stage. And he's like, "What the man?" He goes, "I offer you some peanuts. What do you think I was going to do? Have a snake pop out?" He's like, "Geez." And then he put the lid back on and he'd twist the can. Like, okay, now it's going to pop the snake out this time. And he handed back to you again. It's like, "Hey, have some peanuts, man." And then you're hesitating again. Pull the lid. And then the more peanuts fall. He's like, "Come on, man. Like, what are you doing? You're dumping peanuts everywhere. That's food. That's expensive stuff." And it's like, but I knew that was the bit. And I still maybe it was just sheer fear of I'm on stage in Las Vegas in a stage show, one, or two, I didn't want to ruin the show. But yeah, that was quite a moment of my life. So we didn't get an invite. Come on. We're stage performers. We're Vegas stage performers.
One and done. I'm retired.
Yep. I did my show. He gave me a nice little gift pack. He gave me a shirt. He gave me a DVD because that was a thing at the time of his special. And he gave me a book.
A picture afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't get a picture. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was still in shock that I had been yanked up on stage. that like I just left and had to like call and tell people, I'm like, hey, guess what I just did? Did you get any photos? No, there is no photo evidence of me doing this.
Yeah, I got a professional one from the place. It was a gift for being part of it.
He did this joke where when he's bringing out the gifts, his actual assistant, who is his wife, um, would come out and it's like, bring out the gift. And she'd come out and she'd have like a set of tickets, and very, very risque joke here. And it was a pair of tickets to go see the Blue Man Group. And he's like, Blue Man Group, how'd you get these? And you pull the ticket down away from her face and her mouth is blue. He's like, get out, get out.
That's good.
Very, very filthy, but hilarious. On that note, Vegas Magician, that was not part of the show's agenda tonight. Tune into Wednesday Night Dash next week, 10 p.m. Lime Rock Park, GT3s. It'll be a mess.
Yeah, it should be fun. Behind Closed Doors is off next week. We come back, I think it's the 25th at New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
That'll be a fun one.
I am going to run Indianapolis. I've decided that is my race for the season. I'm going to make time to make sure I can be there for that one. So I'll be like many drivers in real life who just run the Indianapolis 500 and nothing else. I will be doing the same thing.
Yeah, so far it's pretty good. Tyler's leading the points. I'm running in second. And we got Brian McKinney sitting in third.
And
I actually had a close race with Hunter and Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler Hunter ate it early because he didn't stream last night. I was watching Hunter's stream and he ate it pretty early and he rallied, and Tyler made a mistake and he recovered and turned around and won. So it's like, keep running. You never know what's going to happen to the car in front of you.
Yeah, again, road race. I got to find a way to get faster. I'm looking forward to the ovals though.
Yeah, it's IndyCar on ovals is always a lot of fun. I think I saw this thing where it was the 1993 schedule, and I'm like, why can't they run that? And you had the Cleveland race, you had Toronto, you had Vancouver was in there. Do you remember the Vancouver race?
Yeah.
That was a good one. You had Michigan, you had New Hampshire in there, the mainstays of Mid-Ohio and India, obviously Indianapolis and Long Beach, Belle Isle, that Milwaukee was in there. It was a good schedule. That was a really good schedule.
So are you sure you don't want to run a second BCD race? Because your favorite track is on there.
Long Beach?
Laguna.
Oh, let's say I might run Long Beach. I've
We
not
do have
actually
Long Beach on there.
I know. I'm thinking about running Long Beach too. But I hate Laguna. And we put it on the I caved to peer pressure and we put it on the GT3 schedule.
Hey, I would suggested Bathurst, so
Yeah, though, like Mark suggested that too. Mark Vickers suggested that. I'm just like, are you guys insane? No.
a little bit.
I liked it tonight on the recruiting race. I mean, it was obviously a pretty casual event, but you had like 6 people, 5-6 people in the Discord chat just bantering the whole time. It was good. It was a good, fun event. When you have these
fun tonight.
When you have these drama-free events where everyone's just bantering and having fun and not getting upset at each other, I mean, it's a ton of fun. It's just the last thing I want to do is, we don't want to be disciplinarians. We don't want to make this, put too many rules in place, but it is what it is.
Come check us out. Wednesday Night Dash, behind closed doors. We're still accepting drivers on both of those.
Yes.
It's not too late for our open wheel series.
We might need
if you want to join in.
And we might need a fill-in announcer one week in our Wednesday Night Dash season, depending on, I got to talk to Eli. He's moving during the season, and I scheduled one off week during that time. And if he's not back up and running again, we might need a fill-in announcer one week. So got a couple people I can call and see if they want to fill in for the week. But if you know of anybody who might want to be a fill-in for us, get in touch. At F4 Racing Online. all social media.
I'll fill in. I'll take that day off.
Yeah, take the day off. Well, let me see. Let's look at the schedule real quick and see what it might be. I
Oh
don't know if
yeah.
this again, Eli's dates have not been, at least to me, they've not been finalized. So I don't know exactly what we're looking at here. Probably Watkins Glen.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, I
I
think
might run that.
I'm good with that. Now, if it was
We'll
next
see how the
week,
points are
next
going.
week, yeah, next week it might be Laguna, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll sit in the booth. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll sit in the booth. And VIR, I need to like practice that one more. I think I've got every other track
Oh yeah.
pretty
Yeah, I
much
got
figured out.
VIR. Yeah, it's fun.
I Yeah, a lot of work to do there.
Oh, you know what would have been fun? Here's a crazy idea. How many cars can we put on track at once at Mount Washington?
Do a Mount Washington climb.
How crazy would that be if you could put multiple cars on at once?
There was somebody did a Mount Washington climb using an IR18, and I'm just like, how did you do that? And they I think they made it. I did an IR, or I did a Mount Washington with a Formula V, and I'm just like, that's a little more my speed, and I still I still couldn't make it. I ended up going flying off the cliff. Anyway,
At some point, I wish they would scan Pikes Peak.
they can't.
Get, I know.
That stinks. They can't. I like whoever made that deal when they sold that track. Like, it can't be used for NASCAR. It can't be used for IndyCar. It like they can't use it in like video games. It's like, are you trying to get the new owners to like completely fail with this track? Like, do you want it to completely like go away?
And that's where it'd be fun to get the hill climb too.
Yes, indeed.
Because it's I think going in year 101 now.
Really? I did not know that.
It's been around for a long time. Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. I never actually got over there during the event. It was in my backyard.
That's the thing too, is like I lived in Chicago for all those years. I never made it to Road America. I never made it to Milwaukee. I never actually saw a race at Chicagoland Speedway. And I'm just like, what was I thinking? Wasn't.
I got one race coming up here in a month. I think
I
it's just about official. I'm going to be at the Indy GMR.
So I did a count actually. I lived in Chicago for 8 years. I went to Wrigley Field 46 times in the 8 years I lived there.
See, that's why I can't live in Chicago because I would be there that many.
Well, the first year I lived there, I bought a mini season ticket plan and went to 10 games, and I did not have the money to pay for those tickets. That went on a credit card, and that was young people listening to this. Do not fund your free, your free time stuff on a credit card. Bad idea. Bad idea. Took me years to get my credit card in line. Good now, but that was stupid. That was really stupid.
Hey, you only live once.
That is true. I mean, I don't regret it. It was very financially irresponsible of me to do something like that. It's like, hey, I just got a job 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'm gonna pay $3,000 for a set of tickets. Yeah, cool.
Before I moved to Michigan, I was actually looking at season tickets for the Avalanche. For 41 games, the ones I would have gotten was only going to be like 600.
Well, I got up to Chicago as the Blackhawks were like coming in to their own, and I put myself on the waiting list for season tickets. And unfortunately, I never got called because I would have purchased those tickets. And I don't know how I would have logistically pulled that off. That would have been exhausting. Driving to the United Center was exhausting. Like, it was a terrible drive from anywhere in the city. It is unless you like live close by, it is a terrible drive to get to the United Center.
Yep.
But anyway, I think we need to tried to rap like 4 times now. So frracingonline.com and frracingonline on all the social media and streaming platforms. Check us out on Wednesday night dash next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, Lime Rock Park. Be a lot of fun for some
Thanks
of
for
us.
tuning in. We'll see you there.